And finally, we are on the third reason to revise, and that is to replace sentences. So to replace, when a paragraph contains unfocused or confusing information, the writer needs to revise by replacing the unfocused content with information that improves the focus. So sometimes we might have a sentence that might be too vague or too confusing. So when you want to go back and reread and revise and replace that sentence with a clearer one. Okay, so for this, for most of these, you're going to have to read the entire passage. So your example that you'll do after this video will be an entire passage, but I'm going to give you one example here. This is actually, I took a smaller part of a passage, but just to kind of model it for you. So in sentence 33, what do you think it refers to? What could you replace the pronoun with to add clarity? So when I read this, you'll see that it uses the word it, and that's very vague. So I'm going to replace it with a different word. Okay, again, so we're focusing on, that was very large. We're focusing on just 27 through 34. Okay, and I'm looking at specifically 33. Suddenly, Lauren feels a stabbing pain at it, and it. We don't know what it is, so we need to replace it. So it says, Lauren, someone screams. Lauren begins to panic. What will she do? Lauren, the voice yells even more urgently. Lauren knows that whoever it is will not reach her in time to save her. The rhino is approaching too fast. Suddenly, Lauren feels a stabbing pain in it. The rhino has rammed her. Lauren cries out and doubles over. Okay, so I know that there's a rhino, obviously, it's approaching her. In the last sentence, it says that the rhino had already rammed her, and the it is referring to something that has stabbing pain that she feels. So I'm going to assume that's something on her body. So he ran into something. So it could have been her leg, it could have been her head, her stomach, her arm. So just by those context clues, so just looking, I have to look at the sentence around, okay, and the sentence before. So you're going to have to read more than just that sentence to know how to replace it. So I'm going to assume it's part of her body. So let's look at the answer choices. Okay, the meaning of sentence 33 is unclear. It can be clarified by changing it to. And here are your answer choices. You have her game, her shoulder, the voice, and the rhino. Again, I already had guessed it was a body part, so I'm going to say it's G, but you're going to have to explain why the others are wrong. Obviously, you wouldn't be able to feel pain in a game. That's not something you attach pain. The voice, Lauren feels stabbing pain in the voice. The voice is very vague, and also you wouldn't feel pain in the voice. And then the rhino, she's not the rhino. The rhino is the thing that's hitting her, so that would be why it's incorrect. So on this one, it is G, her shoulder. On yours, you're going to read the entire passage of My Visit to Lego Kids Fest, which is an example we used earlier. So you're going to go through all of these. Okay, read the whole thing to get clarity and understand, and then it's going to ask you specifically, Xavier would like to replace sentence 2 with a sentence that will improve the focus of his paper. Which sentence should he use? So what can be improved about the focus in sentence 2 in your opinion, and answer in incomplete sentences? Here's sentence 2. I just had one of the best experiences in my life. Somehow that is unclear. So as you're reading through this whole passage, see how that sentence 2 can be improved so that it makes more sense. When you're done with that, you'll go on to the next slide. It'll give you answer choices to actually answer, okay? And make sure you explain why the other ones are not correct. Finally, you have an exit ticket. You're going to list 3 reasons why to revise, which is what we just did. And then after each reason, tell how each reason can benefit the essay. Okay, hopefully this was helpful for you. That's the end of my videos and the Pear Deck. So I hope you guys have a great week.